Hi guys, Firmbie with you for episode 27 of 15 Minute Makeover here in Car Mechanic 2015. The series where we grab a car from Car Mechanic and see if we can repair it within 15 minutes. Welcome back. Now the last episode, if you recall, we did the Royal Bianco, so if you missed that one, you might want to go check that one out and need that phone ringing once again. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe, give you a thumbs up, thumbs down, and just so that you don't miss out on any of the future content there. Also, if there's something in particular that you want to see here in Car Mechanic, just drop any suggestions down in the comment section. Now that the housekeeping's out the way, let's look at the job that we got to do today, and it's actually the Rino Picolo. Magic number today is 63%. So we're looking at repairing everything up to that 63%, of course. Running through the job description, we had repair all running gear faults. So some of those parts were listed. Some of those we'll have to find as we go along. Sloppy car steering. Again, some of them were listed and some of them weren't. Brake problems. Loud when accelerating. And find and fix all gearbox problems. And we had some of those listed as well. So let's get into this build. As always, the first thing is to take off the obvious parts, the ones we had listed, and some of those we actually come across as we take these parts out. So as I said, some of them were listed and some of them weren't. The other way of getting these parts that we didn't have listed was to use our inspection tools. This particular one, I didn't think it was worthwhile. I just thought we'll find most of them as we go along. Sometimes you get little googly ones that you can't find, but generally you can find them as you go along. So as I said, we're just getting those parts out now. Getting that suspension and shockies out. Oops. Let's get that sway bar out. As you can see, just from the coloration there, most of the parts that are coloured like that are pretty well rooted. When we're looking for a repair level up to 63%, then as you can see by that coloration or the rust representation there, that certainly doesn't meet our required level, so they can come out straight away without even thinking about that. Let's have a look at those rubber bushes. Are pretty notorious for being shagged too. So let's not forget to take those out down to the rear of the car here, and we'll get that rear tyre off and see what we have in regards to the suspension wise. Again, more rubber bushes that have got to come out. Your brake calipers, that brake pad's definitely stuffed there, so he's got to come out. Shockies comes out. What's that? The rear wheel hub as well. As I said, guys, if there's anything that you'd like to see in particular in Car Mechanic, or you've got a particular question, or you're stuck on a build, you want to know how to decorate your garage, or you want to know where to spend your expertise or your certifications in the toolbar, in the toolbox rather. Yeah, as I said, just pop that down in the questions down in the comments section. Love to hear from you. I do appreciate your support and feedback. Let's get that rear wheel hub off now. As you can see, he's all rusted up, he's shagged. That spring cap was certainly rooted at 10%. What else have we got here? That suspension arm, he's got to come out as well. Now I wonder if the fuel pumps. No, perhaps he's okay. The rest of that exhaust system's okay. That front exhaust section, he'll have to come out as well. Now, because we've got to get the gearbox out, those drive shafts got to come out obviously before we get to the gearbox. So both the being an east-west motor, those drive shafts at the front there need to. Oh, okay, something's in the way. Oh, I was standing in the way. That'll do it. As I was saying, you've got to get those drive shafts out because of an east-west motor. You've got to get those drive shafts out to be able to get to the gearbox. And one of our repairs was actually to find and fix all gearbox problems, and didn't actually list any of the parts, so the whole gearbox will need to come out. My guess it'll be a flywheel. something along those lines. But I mean, there's only 3 or 4 parts in the gearbox, so it's not terribly hard to find those, obviously. Let's have a look here. Let's get this starter out. We won't let us take the gearbox out without the starter off. For those of you who are like me, you always get caught with that. You always forget to take the starter off before you try to take the gearbox off. The exhaust manifold is another one that sometimes trips people up, especially when it comes up with loud when accelerating. The obvious parts is the exhaust system, catalytic converters, middle mufflers, rear mufflers. But what some people don't actually think of is let's get that gearbox out here. That exhaust manifold, clutch release bearing. Yeah, you can see that clutch plate. I would say he's just about shagged at 24%. He is. Yeah, that flywheel was fine, but we'll take it out anyway just for gigs. We were standing there, and it looks like we've actually located all the parts that we require. Let's have a look at the brake problems. All of those have been found. Loud when accelerating is all the exhaust. Gearbox, as I said, there's only 3 or 4 parts there, and the 3 that we wanted repairing were actually located. So just in the interest of keeping this video a reasonable length, guys, I've just cut out all the purchasing of all the parts. As I said, just to keep this video at a reasonable length. Well, most of the parts will just come back into the video just on the end of the purchasing of the parts. As you can see, some of them are a little bit less than 100%, but on this particular build, we only need a 63% repair level. So the first thing, as you would have seen, is that me go over to the repair table and repair those ones up that I could repair up. Again, I've mentioned it quite numerous times, but it's quite important to put as much experience into your repair table as you can, because it does save you a lot of money. If you can repair it up, it saves you purchasing, and especially if the repair only requires a certain percentage. In this case, it is a 63%. Obviously, you only repair up to that level. So a lot of the times you can repair it up to 60, 70, 80% without the part actually breaking, and if it doesn't break, well, you don't have to purchase a new one. So and why put a new part on and pay, whatever the part's worth, a couple $100, when you can simply repair it and not have to pay anything. So as I said, the repair table is quite important. It will save you some dosh. So now we're in the process of getting these parts back on. This shocky going on now. That should be just about it for this side. We'll get that wheel on, and we'll tidy up this particular quarter of the build. We'll spin around this other side and get the all these parts on this quarter here. All the suspension parts, these rubber bushes that everyone loves to hate. As you can see, I just put as many parts as I can while I'm on this particular side. Sometimes you can get to the exhaust system. Other times you might be able to put a oil filter on, oil pan. It just saves you jumping from one side to the other, so you get as many parts on one side as you can while you're here. That's why you'll see me spinning around and looking at parts and seeing where I can actually put parts in before I move on to the next section. So, but I mean, at the end of the day, you'll work out your own little system, just so that you become a little more efficient at moving around and getting these parts in. And speaking of getting parts in, these are the brake pads and brake calipers going in now. You can see some of those parts aren't up to 100%, but we actually don't need it to 100%, so it is what it is. Let's see what we need down the back end here. Let's get these suspension parts on, like so. The rubber bush is going in now. The rear axle, we'll just get that cap on first. Get that axle in. Now, I don't think we actually needed to take out the fuel filter, and then on this particular, actually I think the fuel filter was the last build. If my memory serves me correctly, you might have to correct me on that one if I've got that one wrong. I reckon on the Royal Bianco, our last build, and we actually had to take the fuel filter and the fuel tank out. I think we actually bought a brand new fuel tank. I can't remember. Speaking of repairs, guys, just reasonably recently I put a number of restorations up, so if you haven't checked those out, guys, then that's full restorations from purchasing at the auction to pulling everything apart, repairing it and putting it all back together. One of them was actually the Del Rey Custom, and the other one was the DeLorean Sci-Fi. And the DeLorean's actually one of the new cars that dropped in the last, actually a couple of weeks ago now, the last patch. Actually, I think there's a Del Rey sitting on that lifter back there. I've got done actually quite a number of those Del Rey's restorations, so they're quite nice cars actually. I do enjoy actually working on those particular ones on the Del Rey. Funny how we got our favourites, but let's get that starter in and the exhaust cover. What we've got remaining, couple of brake components there. And get those tightened up like so. Let's check what have we got remaining. I reckon we're almost there. You gotta love that, don't you? I was gonna say we're almost there. Just about to say we've got green lights across the board. Not today, Josephine. Now I've mentioned about this previously, guys, in regards to those rubber bushes. Now I'm gonna have to go looking for these damn rubber bushes that I've obviously missed somewhere. And either I haven't put one in, or one of the rubber bushes just don't meet the 63% repair value. So just a matter of finding a damn thing. That's 69%. So no, he was alright. No. Let's get him back in. So that's the, I call that the front left one. No, can't get to that. Get this critter out. That's 71%. No, it wasn't that one there. So it is easier while you're actually taking parts off. It's just to pull the damn things off and replace them. So it just saves all this effort of hunting for the fucking things. They are pesky little things sometimes, because you, as you can see, you spend half the build going back and forth trying to find the damn things. I'll just rip this rear tyre off and give us a better look at these rubber bushes. If it's a small one, it'll actually be behind here. Small rubber bushing. Rear shock absorber cap and rear bushes. Oh, rubber I'm wondering, yeah. I'm wondering whether it's actually one of those small ones. Small rubber bushes. That's 60, oh, he's at 63%. I would have thought he was actually, would have been okay. I'm wondering whether that's why I actually left it. Let's buy a brand new one and put it in there and see if that's, let's get rid of that one. I would have thought that at 63%. Quality, it would have been okay. Just a helpful hint there, guys, always get this small rubber bushing in before you put the tyre on, because once you put the tyre on, you well, you can get to it once the tyre on, but it is more difficult. So yeah, put the small rubber bushes on, the suspension components, the spring and spring cap, and then get the tyre on. It is a lot easier to do it in that particular order. Otherwise, you'd be just spinning around trying to get to it, and as I said, rubber bushes. No, it wasn't that one. Oh, for fuck's sake! As I was saying, I thought that what's this one here? 26%. That's what it was. As I was saying, the other one was actually at 63% already, and I also thought if it's up to and including that value, they would have been fine. That's what I couldn't work out. But it was actually a large rubber bushing, so that one at the rear there was our culprit. But again, that's all part of it. That's what you do here in Car Mechanic. You find, fix and repair. And let's have a look at those numbers there. Green lights across the board. Money spent on job 4,250. Bonus for completing the task 2,123, and that's, I was going to say the same, but for completing the job 2,125, which gives us a total earned of $8,498. Alright guys, thank you very much for your company once again, and I'll look forward to it next time.